Welcome back to the Noble Ones podcast. I'm so happy you are joining us again this week for another episode where we're going to dig into some raw talk about emotional stuff, emotional awareness, and, just different things that I think we need to start unpacking when it comes to just being more observational and aware of what's going on inside of us. So this week, I had a friend send me a social media post, and it was about similar to what the title is, like that's a bunch of BS. And I started to think about BS as the acronym for being seen. And it fits well with social media because what I've noticed, I think I joined Instagram a long, long time ago. And as you all know, it's evolved so much in, what people are doing on there. It used to just be these really a post or a picture, and then you would write a caption, and that was pretty much it. And now it's, stories and reels, and just seems like there's so much noise on there. And what I noticed about social media is it just seems like everyone's looking to be acknowledged. And that is very similar to life, right? We all want to be acknowledged. We all want to be seen. But why? What's the truth behind wanting to be seen? And I think when I think about it for me, not so much in regards to social media, but when I'm looking for validation or I'm feeling insecure, that it usually goes back to, which is one of my core wounds, is my worthiness. Somewhere, in my childhood and through a lot of my experiences, I developed this lack of self-worth, not thinking that I was good enough. And so I've mentioned this before, and I'll always be recovering from this, always trying to be perfect and always trying to overachieve and overdo. And it was my way of trying to be seen. And by who, right? Who am I trying to impress? And so what I've learned is that we really need to come back to validating ourselves and acknowledging who we are, our most authentic person. And we're not going to be like everybody else, right? We're not going to make the same decisions, think the same way, agree on all the same things, but it's more like this self-acceptance and self-acknowledgement. So when we're looking for that, looking to be seen, I think personally it connects back to unworthiness. Somewhere along the way we didn't get the validation, or I always say, the emotional connection or the emotional support that we needed. So another reason why I think we have this desire to be seen is it's almost like a feedback loop to see, am I doing things the right way? And again, I'll come back to social media because it's everyone's kind of doing the same thing. It used to be the flat post, and then you would write things, and now it's turned into a story or a reel with a caption. Or the other thing that's really funny is it's a person doing something, and then the video comes from a clip from someone that's not even their voice. So it's almost like they're acting out whatever it is that was going on in the audio. So it's just, I don't know, to me it's so crazy, and it's what are we really doing here? It's just a bunch of noise. And so when I think about just giving a message, and me, let's say my brand, Noble One, trying to market on social media, I'm is that even going to really be seen? Because it's not in the mix of what everyone else is doing. So again, it's this feedback loop of, am I doing it right? And if I start doing it like everybody else is doing it, then I'll be seen, right? They're doing it and it seems to be working, and they're getting all these followers. So should I do it that way? So I think that's another reason why, it's our need to see, are we doing things right? Or are we fitting in? Or are we like everyone else? And then the third reason why I think we're striving to be seen is the question around, am I doing what I should be doing? What this should be is a big thing in our society, where you've got your whole life pretty much mapped out for you, at least I felt like I did in terms of what I should be doing. And it's you got to get good grades all through high school because then you should go to college. And then after college, you should get a job. And then after you get your job, you should get married. And then after you get married, you should have your kids. So maybe our wanting to be seen and like compare ourselves to everybody else or have people validate us is to make sure that we're doing the things that we should be doing. So I kind of want to break this down because I feel like it's about self-acknowledgement. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge other people and that it doesn't feel good to be acknowledged. I'm just saying, where is it coming from? It's that questioning why. Why are we doing this? Like, why are we posting this on social media? Or why are we, how you always have like that one friend, or if let's say you're out to dinner with a group of people and there's that one person that always has to be like, well, I did this and I know them. Like they always have to kind of toot their horn about like the vacation they went on or how much money they spent or the people that they met. And it's just this way of wanting to be seen or wanting to be validated for something that's like bigger than them. And I think it points back to this unworthiness. So I want to give you 3 different ways that I think we could all start to practice acknowledging ourselves a little bit more so that we don't always have that external need for validation that I think really links back to self-worth and our self-concept, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel. If you're standing there as your most authentic self, are you going to be accepted in the world? And the truth is, like, it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. You're you. You're a unique being, and you're here to express yourself the way that you want to. I mean, I'm not saying go out and commit a crime or, do something shitty, but as far as like all the little things that we get caught up on in this comparison project of trying to be like everyone else and that we should be doing what they're doing or will be judged. I think we just need to get away from that and really move into this place of self-acknowledgement and acceptance for who we are, which really means to see yourself, validate yourself, love yourself, talk to yourself like you talk to other people, So let me give you three things to kind of take away that I wrote down. So the first would be to recognize and reflect. So recognize could be something as simple as, well, what's a small win for you today? What was something that you set out to do? Like maybe yesterday you're like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to hit the gym, I'm going to eat really well. And at the end of the day you did. That's a win. So can you acknowledge that? Can you acknowledge that you had a great conversation at work and made a connection with someone? Can you acknowledge that you finished a project that you've been working on for a long time? Can you acknowledge that maybe you cleaned up a pile of crap in the corner that's been sitting there for 2 weeks? Like self-acknowledgement. We have to start saying, wow, like I'm doing a good job. I'm doing okay, instead of always looking for it outside of ourselves. And then reflection is more about like, let's look back and say, holy crap, like, look at where I've come from where I was. And I can give you a great example of this because it just happened. And I can see it so clearly with other people. I'm not so good about doing it for myself, but one of my sons, for example, he just packed up all of his stuff and moved about 3 months ago to a new state. And I remember the process he was going through of wanting to get out of Colorado, wanting to start, fresh and just like go to a new place, experience new things, new people, new energy, and just really watching him go through the process of stepping into the fear of just going, like not having a job secure, doing some interviews, but not having all of his ducks perfectly in a row and just making the decision to go. And kind of watching him on that journey to make the decision. So then he goes and immediately, because the energy of what you want, I always say, is behind your decision. Once you decide, you'll have like all the universal support. So anyway, he gets there, immediately starts to meet friends, gets a great job. And I talked to him a couple days ago and he's excelling, he's exceeding, he's doing an amazing job, but he's already forgotten, or he had kind of not forgotten, but lost sight, wasn't in his awareness about how far he had just come in 3 months. So I said, can you look back and recognize that 3 months ago, you were saying, should I do it? I'm kind of afraid, but I don't have a job. What if this? What if that? And now here you are kicking butt in a new place, a new job. You love where you are. And he was looking already forward to what's next. So that's getting out of the present moment, and then also just not acknowledging and recognizing how far you've come. So reflect on the little things. What did you accomplish today? What did you accomplish this week? And if you're struggling, like feeling that way, then look back and recognize a time when you thought you weren't going to be able to get somewhere and you actually are there now. Kind of like the place you are right now was a place that you wanted to be not that long ago. The second thing, which I think is really, really huge when it comes to seeing yourself and validating yourself, is our self-talk. This is huge, you guys. How many times do you get up in the morning, let's be honest, and you walk over to the mirror and you're like, oh my God, I look so tired, I look at my freaking hair, and you just start the whole process of belittling yourself, or it's about your body, and oh my God, or I said I was going to eat better, or we're just constantly critiquing ourselves. So we need to become really aware of our self-talk and start complimenting yourself. It might sound stupid, but look in the mirror and be like, you know what? You look pretty damn good. Like, you've got great eyes. Like, I love your hair. Like, you have an amazing smile. Start to find things within yourself that you can compliment and acknowledge within you. And I just think we've got to start being more cautious of our self-talk, because it keeps us in these states of unworthiness, which is what I was saying at the beginning of this, where I think our need to be seen is kind of linked to unworthiness. And then finally, I think one of the best ways to get better at self-acknowledgement is to acknowledge other people. You know what I mean? Like, you know how sometimes you're out in public, right? And we're always judging people like in our head, whether we mean to or not, you just do it. So let's say you're out in the mall, right? And you see somebody and you're standing next to them and you love their outfit, or you love their purse, or you're on the golf course and you see somebody hit a good shot, and in your head, you're thinking you want to do this compliment, but you don't know that person, so you don't say anything. Why not? Like, why don't we start acknowledging people? Hey, I love that shirt, or you know what, I love the color of your hair. Wow, like that was an amazing shot, or whatever it is. I'm just throwing out examples, but start to acknowledge other people. Or like, how about the next time you get in an elevator, you don't look down, or you don't look at the wall, or you don't sit there uncomfortable and you just say to somebody, how's your day? You know, it might take them aback, but just acknowledging people, I think, is good practice. And then it's also like being an example. If you start to acknowledge someone, you give them a compliment. It's truly authentic. There's no expectation of anything in return. How do you not know that made an impact on them, that made their day? And then they might go on to acknowledge somebody else. So those are my 3 tips. Recognize and reflect how awesome you are, what you are accomplishing, how you are moving forward, how you are capable, instead of going external for it. Watch your self-talk. Start to compliment yourself. Start to find things and affirm things about yourself that are amazing. And the final thing is acknowledge other people. Acknowledge the human connection and the similarities that we actually have to other people. You know, we walk around in the world in like this really small, like sometimes it seems like a small world, but there's so many people that we don't know. We stay in our little bubble of safety of people and family and friends, but there's so many people out there that could just use a little bit of acknowledgement that would go a really long way. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, that the bunch of bullshit is this need to always be seen. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I am saying we could work a little bit more through emotional awareness, through our own connection back to self, at acknowledging who we are, what makes us unique, and what makes us special, and start to build our worth, start to work on our own personal self-concept. So I hope that helped you guys. I hope it gives you something to kind of think about in terms of your need to be seen and your ability to start to see yourself. And I will be back next week with another topic. Let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends and family. And I will be talking to you soon. Love you.